Hey everyone, it's Ben from River Surf Lab, here to do a review of the Lib Tech Hydra. Now this is an ocean shaped board, but it comes in at 5'3", 2.5 inches thick, and 30 liters. So it has a lot of the attributes that I would typically look for in a river surf shape. The bottom line though is, unfortunately, it's too slow to surf a lot of river waves. And I think a lot of that has to do with the amount of tail rocker that this board has. When I measure it, comes in at about 1.5 inches, 1.75 inches of tail rocker, and a lot of the boards that I ride and I like have closer to 1 inch or even less of tail rocker in them. This tail has so much rocker in it, which I think is mostly designed for someone who's lighter, that it slows the board down. And on most river waves, it makes it too slow to really surf and enjoy. I found myself having to stand really far up on the board to keep it on the wave, having to pump it, having difficult time turning it from that far forward. It just really didn't make it enjoyable. Now there are waves where the slowness of this board doesn't matter. Those tend to be short board specific waves like River Run Park, Salida at high water, or wave pool waves like the city wave. Those waves tend to be steep enough and fast enough where you can surf just about anything, and this little bit of extra tail rocker isn't going to make a big difference. The thing that does make a big difference on those waves is the amount of volume and thickness and width that this board has. On all of those waves, you don't have to paddle or pop up to surf those waves, and so all of this extra foam in this board is really just making it feel bigger, bulkier, slower, without adding a whole lot of benefit. So I found myself switching to thinner, narrower boards, shorter boards on those types of waves rather than surfing the Hydra. There's one wave where I prefer to surf this board over any of the other boards in my quiver, and that's Pueblo's Wave 4. And there's a handful of attributes that are specific to that wave that make this board pretty ideal. The first is, when you pop up on that wave, you do so from a hole, a foam ball, where there's a ton of white water. It's really bouncy. It's easy to pull your board. It's hard to stay in front of the foam. And with all of this foam and this width and the stability, it makes it much easier. And then once you're up, the wave itself is pretty short and very steep. And this extra tail rocker lets you stall the board. If you stand on the tail a little bit, you can stall it just a little bit and stay up on the face of that wave. Super nice to have. And lastly, it's very easy to curl on this wave. And so the durability of these Lib Tech boards comes into play. I've sold it a bunch of times, and it's really no worse for wear on the nose. Even if you do ding these Lib Tech boards, you don't have to repair them. The boards won't absorb water. They're pretty nice in that regard. If you're considering getting the Lib Tech Hydra, my recommendation is don't. I would recommend taking a look at the Lib Tech Puddle Jumper. That's a much better board, very good all-around river surf shape. If you're looking for something that maybe is only going to be used on shortboard and steep river waves, the Lib Tech Whirlpool is another great option. And if you're not tied to the Lib Tech construction, I would take a look at the Badfish Wave Farmer. That's another board that's going to be good on shortboard specific waves. Otherwise, if you do live in Pueblo and you want to start surfing Wave 4, this is a great board to do it, and there's not a lot of people that surf that wave. So if you want something that's going to work well there and help you start surfing that wave, this is a good one. For me personally, I'm going to keep this board just to surf Pueblo. If I'm going anywhere else, this board's just going to stay at home.